Idaho Falls Pediatrics, proudly supporting kids in our community in 7 Questions with Emmy.
Hey guys, welcome back to 7 Questions with Emmy. My guest today is Maliakel, right? Okay, he is a big Broadway star and I'm really honored to be here today because I've actually seen him in Aladdin on Broadway earlier this March. So he plays Aladdin, and should we just hop into the
Let's do it. I'm so happy to meet you.
I'm so happy to meet you.
You're adorable. This is so fun.
You're like one of my favorite actors.
Oh,
so
that means a lot. I'm so honored.
I'm honored to be with you. Are you okay? So question number 1 is:
Yes.
I saw you in Broadway earlier this year. What is it like playing Aladdin?
Oh man, it is a dream come true. It was my favorite Disney animated film growing up. I don't know how you felt about it, but he was the prince that I wanted to be. I have two brothers, so I'm the middle of 3 boys, and we grew up watching that movie on repeat to the point where my parents were just sick of it. We were just like, you don't even know what a VHS tape is, but we would watch it so much that the VHS itself would start to kind of fall apart a little bit. That's how much we watched it, and we'd build little forts, little pillow forts in our living room and pretend like we were Aladdin jumping off the buildings and dodging the guards and stuff. So to now get to play Aladdin on a Broadway stage and get paid to fly a magic carpet every night it's surreal. It is very, very cool. And it's cool to get to, sing these songs that have meant a lot to me over the years. And I mean, like, who wouldn't want to play a Disney prince at some point, a prince or princess in their lives? And it's, I feel really, really lucky.
Are your brothers jealous of you?
They might be a little bit. I bet they wouldn't admit it, but I'm going to say, yeah.
The question number 2 is: what is the most embarrassing moment that you've had on stage?
Ooh, good question. Okay, there have been a couple. So, every now and then you might trip on something. I wear this big long cape for a part of the show, and sometimes that cape has a mind of its own, and it'll get caught under your boot or something. Thankfully, I haven't hurt myself yet, but I will say that there was, we do a lot of quick changes in the show, and one of them is like this magical moment where Aladdin gets transformed into Prince Ali, right? He wishes for the genie to make him a prince, and the quick change has to happen in about, I think, like 15 seconds maybe, and it happens right on stage, sort of covered up by the dancers. And there was one show where there was a swing. We call them swings, for the people that fill in for the ensemble when one of them is out or sick or whatever it might be. And there was a swing who hadn't quite rehearsed that part very well yet, and he didn't quite get one of my costume pieces on, and so the change just didn't happen. And there's no wiggle room on stage in that time. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, and you finish the show half dressed. And that's what happened in this particular moment. So there was a little bit of a egg on your face moment, but I talked to a couple of the guys that have played Aladdin before me, and it's happened to everyone at least once. So we did it once, and it won't happen again. But you never remember the perfect shows. It's always those ones that something a little quirky happens and kind of like teaches you to be present in the moment and just go with the flow.
Yeah,
so,
improv.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you tell me how you ended up on Broadway?
Oh man, so I grew up in New Jersey, which is not far from New York, and I grew up going to see Broadway shows. Like my first Broadway show I saw when I was in high school, actually, so it was a little bit later. But so you're so lucky that you've gotten to see shows when you're so young. But I knew that was, as soon as I saw my first show, which was The Phantom of the Opera, I knew that was something that I wanted to be a part of, to be able to tell a story and to be able to have all of these people around you, to be able to communicate a story. That feeling felt so magical, and I was like, that would be so cool to get to do that one day. And the nitty-gritty nuts and bolts of getting to Broadway, it's a whole different story. It's a very competitive field. There's so many talented people in the world, and so many of us who are dreaming to get to that point. And it requires a lot of practice, a lot of training. You're in theater right now, I know you said, and voice lessons, dance classes, acting classes, watching as much theater as you can to kind of soak up all the little tricks and of the trade that people have come to do over the years, and add all that into your toolbox. So you have to be prepared. You've got to got all of that, all your skill set ready to go. And then beyond that, it's a matter of opportunity and timing and luck, honestly. And so all of those things sort of fell into place for me. And this was like right sort of at the end of the the really tough part of the pandemic where Broadway was shut down and they were getting ready to reopen Broadway, and Aladdin was one of the first shows to reopen. So they sent out this casting notice, we're looking for a new Aladdin, and you know, we had an audition over Zoom. My first audition was on Zoom, which, as you can imagine, I'm pretending to be on a magic carpet and jumping off buildings on Zoom in my living room. It was kind of nuts, but thankfully, after getting through the first 2 rounds, then I had, I think, 4 more callbacks after that. So dancing and singing, and they pair you up with different Jasmines to see how you guys work together. And then finally got the call from my agent. It's like, are you sitting down? Because you're going to be making your Broadway debut as Aladdin on Broadway. And I mean, I lost it. It was, you know, a dream that I've worked really hard for. And I remember I was in my living room, my wife was there, and we had just gotten a puppy, a new dog. And so I'm on the phone and I just, you know, lose it. I start weeping, and my wife comes over, she's like, what? It's like, is it what we think it is? Like, yeah, it's what you think it is. And we just both just crumple in each other's arms in a pile on the floor. And the dog is just like, I don't know who these people are. They are, I don't know what's going on, but I guess it's good news. So yeah, that's the short story.
You mentioned Phantom of the Opera was your first Broadway show.
Yeah.
It was actually, so the day we were in New York, we had like 1 day left, and we wanted to see Broadway shows.
Yes.
And we were going to see Phantom of the Opera, but they were sold out, and that's when we decided to come see you in Aladdin.
Well, that worked out well for us,
did.
right?
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, so Phantom of the Opera, I don't know if you know, but it was the longest running Broadway show, right? So that's incredible. They ran for, I think by the end there was like 32 years, which is crazy. It's unheard of for Broadway shows, and I think the reason why you probably couldn't get a ticket is because they announced it was closing and everyone was just dying to see it at the end there. So, well, you got to see a pretty good one, I think, right?
Yeah. It was a really good one.
Yeah, nice.
I didn't get to see one that I wanted to see, but I got to see another one that I really loved.
Yeah, sometimes that's how life works
And now
out.
it led us to here.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is your dream role, and who would you want to act with?
Ooh, my dream role hasn't been written yet. I'm going to say that. But I would love a chance at some point down the line to play Sweeney Todd. Do you know that show at all? So Stephen Sondheim is one of my favorite musical theater composers, and it's it's like a little dark, a little creepy,
like
but
the cutting hair thing.
yes, he's a barber.
Oh, yeah.
He's a barber. He's the demon barber of Fleet Street. So it's running on Broadway right now, and one of my personal heroes, Josh Groban, is playing Sweeney Todd right now, and I just wanted to be him growing up. I had all his CDs, I watched all his PBS specials, and so I was a big Josh Groban fan, and I actually got to see him do it on Broadway, which was amazing. So at some point, it'd be really cool to get to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That had to be cool. And you would want to act with him?
Well, I would love to play the role he's playing right now,
Yeah.
but if I got to do a show with Josh Groban, whatever the role would be, I would take it for sure. Yeah.
Well, if you were in Sweeney Todd maybe when I'm a little bit older, then I will definitely come watch you.
Awesome. Deal. Okay.
Have you ever been to Idaho, and what's your favorite way to have a potato? Because Idaho's known for our famous potatoes.
Sure, of course. Yeah, the Idaho Potatoes. So I was in a touring choir called the American Boy Choir, and we toured all over the country. So I was just a little bit older than you are now when I did that. So it's been a while since I've been to Idaho, and I gotta be honest, I don't remember it super well. I think it was very cold. I think we came in the wintertime. I'm sure we had some delicious potatoes. I couldn't tell you specifically, but I'd love to come back. What do I need to see? What are your favorite things about Idaho?
The falls are really pretty.
Okay.
A lot of it. We have Yellowstone.
Yes. Oh, the national parks, of course. Yeah.
Our house is like right next to the mountain, so you can like see them.
That's so beautiful. See, I grew up in New Jersey, which is, beautiful in its own way, but has nothing, can't compare to like gorgeous mountains and natural parks. So I think I would have loved to grow up where you are.
If you ever want to come, there's a spot reserved for you in our guest room.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to hold you to that. That's really
can.
generous. Thank you. Thank you.
But you'll have to sing me and my brother's lullabies to sleep.
Done. You got it. Okay.
And what's your favorite way to have a potato?
What's that?
What's your favorite way to have a potato?
My favorite way to have a potato. Ooh. I love a waffle fry. Like a good, crispy waffle fry. Oh man, yeah, there's not much that can top that.
Yeah. You get to perform with the Tabernacle Choir, What is that like?
It is the most surreal musical experience I have ever had. I've been a fan of the choir for a really long time. I got to watch them on TV growing up a lot, and so, there was like a part of me that dreamed about being on stage with them, but I never really thought it would happen. And so to finally be here doing it, the reality of that and the responsibility of that and the privilege of that feels enormous, and I feel really, really grateful and really, really lucky. And then, people say, like, don't meet your heroes because sometimes they might disappoint you. In this case, that does not apply at all, because every single one of them that I've gotten to say hi to has been nothing but so welcoming, so generous, so kind. And I can't say enough about what a great experience it's been.
Okay, I have a few bonus questions.
Okay, hit me.
Okay, what is it like flying a magic carpet every night?
It is the coolest. I will say, probably, it's the most iconic moment of our show. I think everyone comes to the show just waiting for that moment, and they put it like halfway through Act 2, so people are just sitting there, okay, is it going to be now? Is it going to be now? Is it going to be now? And finally, when it happens, we have the best seats in the house, Jasmine and I, because we're up on the carpet, elevated. You can see the whole audience, and you can literally hear, when the carpet takes off, you can hear the audience just like, wow. Like, you can literally hear people saying that.
Going, wow.
Absolutely, you can hear people wiping away their tears and sniffling, and it's so cool because, the thing about being on Broadway and in a long-running show, I've been doing it for almost 2.5 years now. So that's like 700 some performances. So the routine of that can start to take a toll on you. But at that moment with the carpet, you realize that for your audience, it is such a magical thing to watch it happen. And it is beautiful the way that they've done it. Like, you can't see it just truly feels like a magical moment, And I think that really hits you hard. And you're like, this is what we get to do every night. Very, very few people get to do. And so I think it reminds me to be grateful of where I am and to not take any show for granted. Any moment that I get to be on that stage, flying that carpet is very, very special. Yeah.
When you first got on it, were you scared, your first time?
So it's so funny that you asked that, because I remember, so I had all these auditions, right? I had 8 auditions, and in not one of those auditions did anyone ask me if I was afraid of heights. And so in this role, I'm up on these buildings, I'm jumping, and literally jumping off of buildings. There are these ladders, there's all kinds of, you're up off the stage, the deck we call it, a lot in the show, let alone on the carpet. And so for anyone that is a little bit afraid of heights, I think it'd be a tough role. But thankfully, I don't really get too afraid of heights. And I will say it feels very safe. There's so many eyes on the show to make sure that everything is safe and careful. So no, I don't get nervous. I didn't get scared that first time. I was just blown away. They do a good thing. The first time they put in a new person in that role, they turn all the lights down in the house. So you're just on stage, and you get to just be in that moment they have got a starry night sky in the background, and you get to just experience it like the magical moment that it is. So it was. I think I was less scared than just blown away by how beautiful it is.
If I were on it, I'd probably holding on to it, making sure I wouldn't
Well,
fall.
that would be part of the character, right? Jasmine's she's blown away by, who gets to fly on a magic carpet, right? So that would be an appropriate response, I think.
Yeah. What do you like about being a dad?
Oh man, it is my favorite role to date. As corny as that sounds, it has taught me so much about myself already. And I'll be honest, I'm very fresh at the game. My daughter is 18 months old, so we've got a long ways to go. We're still at the starting gate, it feels like. But it is a truly incredible experience to get to, help shape someone into a human being, really. And we're just getting started at it, but it's made my wife and I feel like a real team, because it's a huge responsibility. It's a lot of work, and we both work full time too. So finding the balance between being present and supportive parents, which is a really important thing to me, and then balancing that with our career and our relationship as husband and wife too. It feels there's a lot to juggle, and it has taught me to take sleep where you can get it, because there's not a lot of it to go around. It's taught me to be patient and to love unconditionally and go with the flow and adapt. But she's the most amazing thing I've ever seen, and it makes me feel really grateful to have that responsibility, and just, you know, I feel an immense amount of joy getting to be her dad.
Has she come and watched you?
She's a little young to come see the show. She's only 18 months old. Her name is Nina, but we did get to bring her on stage for the first time and just have her wander around and see some of the props, and I think, I don't know how much of that she'll remember, but it's a moment I will never forget, that's for sure.
Yeah. Do you think you'll let her see the show eventually when she's like 2 or 3?
I think so, yeah. I mean, we'll it's, you know, it's a pretty long show, so for someone that young to sit through might be a little hard, but we'll definitely get her in there at some point, yeah, just to see, you know, even if she doesn't fully remember it, to just know that her dad got to play that role someday. I think it'd be really cool. Yeah.
Okay, what advice do you have for me and our viewers?
Do you mean for people that might want to be a performer and want to act? Yeah, I think it's an incredible calling. I think it's a very special thing to get to tell stories, to use your gifts to get to communicate with people in that way. The way that we as artists get to do is a really beautiful thing. I think it's important to keep in mind your why, meaning why you want to do this, what it is that gives you joy and makes you feel like you have purpose and have something special to say. It's so important, more than anything, to remember what it is that makes you special and unique, because that's ultimately what's going to shine through, I think, to an audience. There are so many talented people in the world, and so many people that deserve to get to do this for a living. I think ultimately, you know, so much of it is out of your hands. You can't really control how people view you, what kind of boxes they might put you in. I think the main thing is to remember that you can only control what you can control, right? So that means practicing really hard, being a good, kind person in rehearsals and in those sorts of settings, making sure that you want to be a person that people want to be around, that you leave your ego at the door and just be proud of what it is you get to do every day. I think that's really, really important. Sometimes, you know, you could have the most incredible voice in the world, but you could be a really rough person, someone that people don't really want to be around. And that's going to shine, that's going to show through and overshadow any other talent that you might have. So I think more than anything, stay true to that. Make sure that you are someone that people want to be around and want to work with, and just work really, really hard, because those are the things that you can control. And just trust that everything else will fall into place.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to do this one, but my little brother named Elliot, his favorite song in the whole world is One Jump Ahead. Do you think you could sing it?
Could I sing it? Oh my gosh, I don't even know if I would know the words without doing the choreography on stage.
Maybe one line.
I'm trying to think. I'm blanking now. You're putting me on the spot. Okay. Gotta keep one jump ahead of the bread line, one swing ahead of the sword. And then I think that's all I got right now.
He's gonna just keep replaying that moment.
Oh, great. Well, you got to record it and send me his version.
Okay.
Deal.
Great. He'll be dancing around. We have this little jungle gym in our basement.
Oh, perfect.
And so I have an Alexa, and so he will play the music and blast it all the way up and just jump around and
his little play gym will be his agrabah? Yes.
He'll make me and my other brother be the guards. And
that's perfect. That's awesome. Okay, well, I need a video of that whole thing, and I'll watch it before the show, and it'll be my motivation for the next show. Okay, great.
Okay, thank you.
Of course.
Oh, since you say
what is this?
I have a little present.
Oh, man.
You don't have to wait till Christmas though.
That's really sweet. Thanks. Should I open it now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You don't have to do that.
That's an Idaho Spuddy Buddy.
Yes. Oh man, I'm gonna put this on my dressing room station, and I'll think about you before the show. That's really nice.
And there's some more things in there.
Oh, there's more. Man. Okay. That's so nice of you. Okay, we got a little card in here. I'll save that for later.
There's a
Questions
7
with Emmy. Look at the
questions
branding
quiz.
on this. You are ready to go, ma'am. Okay, impressive.
And then,
This is-
so usually when I do my interviews on Zoom, I have a big light box that
Yeah.
says the person I'm interviewing's name on the bottom.
This is the kind of thing where you like put the individual letters on, right? Okay.
So you have your own.
Does this light up?
Yeah.
Come on. Look at that. This is so cool. You are the best. This has been really, really fun.
You're
Thank
the
you.
best. Thank you so much.
Of course, of course.
Bye. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, new 7 questions interviews are posted every Thursday. Be sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Love you guys. Bye.
Idaho Falls Pediatrics, proudly supporting kids in our community, and 7 questions with Emmy.